If you don't think that the FCC is independent, then is President Trump your boss?
President Trump has designated me as chairman of the FCC. I think it comes as no surprise that I'm aligned with President Trump on policy. I think that's why he designated me as chairman.
Do you consider him your boss?
Ultimately, well, President Trump designated me as chairman. I can be fired by the president. The president is the head of the executive branch. The decisions of the commission.
So he's your boss.
In the record.
You swore an oath when you came into your job, right? Does the oath have the word president in it?
Senator, again, I'm not tracking this line. What I'm saying is every decision
Do you
that we
remember
make,
the oath that you took?
Yeah.
You swear an oath to protect what?
Sir, every single decision
What
that we
is
make
it that you're protecting?
in this job, we're based on the facts,
Constitution
the law,
of the United
and the
States.
record,
I'm just, look, this is not
consistent
a
with the
test
Constitution.
here. I'm just trying to get a sense of how you're trying to operate here. Have you ever had a conversation with the president or senior administration officials about using the FCC to go after critics?
Well, first of all, Senator, I don't get into the specifics of conversations that I have with the
let me
president.
reframe it then. Would it be appropriate for the president or senior administration officials to give you direction to pressure media companies?
Look, Senator, I'm not going to get into hypotheticals. What I can tell you again
Well, look,
is
the
decisions
easy
by the
answer
commission.
is no. Trump is not your boss.
So
the American people are your boss.
The basis
and
for
here's
the
just one example I want to give on this.
The basis for the
This is
commission
what-
decisions are going to be based on a vote of the
Let me
three of
finish
us.
my comment here, okay? I want to read you a quote here and see if you agree with it. Congress long ago determined that the FCC an independent expert agency. Is that correct or not?
Senator, there's been sort of a sea change in sort of the law and the approach since I think I wrote that sentence. I'm
Yes,
assuming
you did.
since you gave it to me.
You said it in front of Congress.
Right. The view has been that the Communications Act was passed in 1934, 1 year before Humphrey's executor, and so Congress did not include in the Communications Act for-cause removal of FCC commissioners. So I can be fired by the president for no reason or any reason at all. The theory had been that courts would read for-cause removal into the statute, and that was the basis for that viewpoint. I think now it's clear that that's not the case. And so formally speaking, the FCC isn't independent because we don't have that key piece, which is for-cause removal protection.
So when you're talking about all power vesting in the president, I just want to read this a little more because you're saying not just that it is an independent agency, but you're saying that Congress did not want these technical decisions to be made in a haphazard manner or based on misinformation or short-term political interests. You specifically said it placed the authority outside of the executive branch for a reason. So you were not just stating what was the law at the time. You were stating the benefit that comes with the independence. So I guess I'm just trying to get a sense from you. If you don't think that the FCC is independent, then is President Trump your boss?
President Trump has designated me as chairman of the FCC. I think it comes as no surprise that I'm aligned with President Trump on policy. I think that's why he designated me as chairman. But ultimately,
Do you consider him your boss?
Ultimately, well, President Trump designated me as chairman. I can be fired by the president. The president is the head of the executive branch. The decisions of the commission.
So he's your boss.
Look, the decisions of the commission are going to be based on a vote of the three of us right here. So there are some things that are different about that. And our decisions are going to be based on the facts and the law and the record.
You swore an oath when you came into your job, right? Does the oath have the word president in it?
Senator, again, I'm not tracking this line. What I'm saying is every decision
Do you
that we
remember
make,
the oath that you took?
Yeah.
You swear an oath to protect what?
Sir, every single decision
What
that we
is
make
it that you're protecting?
in this job, we're based on the facts,
Constitution
the law,
of the United
and
States.
record,
I'm just listen, this is not
consistent
a
with
test
the
here.
Constitution.
I'm just trying to get a sense of how you're trying to operate here. So I guess I'd just like to be a little bit more direct here. Have you ever had a conversation with the president or senior administration officials about using the FCC to go after critics?
Well, first of all, Senator, I don't get into the specifics of conversations that I have with the
let me
president.
reframe it then. Would it be appropriate for the president or senior administration officials to give you direction to pressure media companies?
Look, Senator, I'm not going to get into hypotheticals. What I can tell you again
Look,
is
the
decisions
easy
by the
answer
commission.
is no.
The decision of
It's
the
not a hypothetical. It's literally just trying to determine whether or not you are understanding your job belonging to the American people. Trump is not your boss.
So
the American people are your boss.
The basis
and
for
here's
the
just one example I want to give on this.
The basis for the
This is
commission
what-
decisions are going to be based on a vote of
Let
the
me
three of
finish
us.
my comment here, okay? The reason I raise this is because whether or not you had that conversation in the Oval Office or on a phone call. What we do is we see it all out in front. On August 24th, Trump wrote, ABC and NBC fake news. They are simply an arm of the Democratic Party and should, accordingly to many, have their licenses revoked by the FCC. I would be totally in favor of that because they are so biased and untruthful and an actual threat to our democracy. So this is not hypothetical, like you said. He did intentionally try to pressure you and direct you to be able to use your power in the FCC against media companies that he thought were biased against him. So that's why I just want to say, this is not hypothetical. This is not theoretical. This is real. And I was trying to get a sense of whether or not you thought this behavior was appropriate or not. And your failure to be able to directly dictate a line and show that there is integrity in this process concerns me, because before the FCC comes all of these decisions. And when you cannot tell me directly that Trump is not your boss, that the American people are your boss, I do not trust you that you can make these decisions with the independent mind that is needed and directed by Congress. And with that, I'll yield back.
When we make
Chairman.
decisions at the commission, it's a vote among the three of us. It's a product of the three of our votes, and we all can suggest edits and change items, and you can see for yourself the bases in reasoning for it.
So would it be appropriate then for the president to try and remove and replace any commissioner because he disagrees with the decisions made by that commission?
The president can remove any member of the commission for any reason or no reason
I know that, but do you think that's appropriate?
It's up to the president to decide.
Okay, well then we got your answer. With that, I'll yield back.
Thank you. So I would note Senator Kim asked multiple questions about whether it is appropriate for politicians to try to pressure the FCC to silence their critics. My answer to that is unequivocally no, but that happens to be my answer whether those politicians are Republicans or Democrats. And I'd like to now enter into the record a letter dated April 11th, 2018, and it was directed to the then chairman of the FCC, Ajit Pai. And it says, we write to express our grave concerns regarding Sinclair Broadcasting Group's conduct. This conduct affects its fitness to hold its existing broadcast licenses and its fitness to acquire even more broadcast licenses through the proposed merger with Tribune Media Company. And what the signatories of this letter was concerned about is that Sinclair had their local anchors warn the populace of the dangers of, quote, one-sided news stories plaguing our country. In other words, Sinclair spoke out against bias in journalism. Apparently, our Democrat colleagues did not like that. And in writing, they urged the FCC to strip the licenses and block the merger. And this letter is signed by Maria Cantwell, by Patty Murray, by Ron Wyden, by Richard Blumenthal, by Bernie Sanders, by Tammy Baldwin, by Tom Udall, by Elizabeth Warren, by Ed Markey, by Tina Smith, by Jeff Merkley, and by Cory Booker. And so I am going to enter this letter into the record without objection. It is so entered. And I would point out the principles ought to apply to both sides evenly.
I appreciate your comments. Can I say a quick rebuttal here? I just want to say this is another attempt to muddy the waters. Chairman Carr's threats to companies he directly regulates are not the same thing as a letter from Congress requesting an agency examine a matter of public concern. Members on both sides of the aisle frequently write similar letters. That's the proper oversight role of Congress. As one example now, Secretary of State Rubio and other Republican senators wrote to the FCC in 2022, urging the agency to thoroughly scrutinize a proposed sale of Spanish language radio stations, concerned it would, quote, silence political viewpoints. So I hope my colleagues, we stop trying to distract from the clear and present attacks right now upon our First Amendment. Chairman Carr's targeted threats against the licensees he directly regulates, and we can hear from Chairman Carr without further delay.
So Senator Kim is factually incorrect. This letter is calling for the FCC to block the licenses, to block the merger, because the Democrats who signed this disagreed with the content on that station. And the difference, I was on that committee then. When this happened, I spoke out against it at the time. And you know what? Not a single Democrat on this committee had a word to say about it. I was also on this committee at the time that Democrats tried to go after Fox and deny a routine license renewal, again, because Democrats didn't like what Fox News says. You know what? I don't like what MSNBC says, but I'm not urging the commission to take away MSNBC's license. And so suddenly, when the current administration and FCC makes comments about Jimmy Kimmel, comments that, as you know, I disagreed with and spoke out against, suddenly Democrats have discovered the First Amendment, and my request would be maybe remember it when Democrats are in power, that the First Amendment is not simply a one-way license for one team to abuse the power and the other not. Instead, we should respect the free speech of all Americans, regardless of party.
I agree with that statement you made. A lot of what you just said, I was not on the committee at that time, and I hope going forward, as I am on this committee with you, that we can work together to show that we do this regardless of who is violating, that we try to show that integrity to the process.
That would be a wonderful development. I hope so as well.